What up? What up?
Howdy, YouTube.
How you doing,
This is
man?
what it looks like when you
Hey,
go live.
Sean. Yeah, when there's not a freaking six people up in here, man.
You,
See,
you
it's a little
mean
bigger today.
this is what it looks like when you actually hit the button and you go on.
Yeah, right.
Cool, man.
So, heck yeah, man. If you're wondering what we're doing here on a Friday night, we are doing our new freaking review show that I want to do every Friday with me and Scarphead. We'll be reviewing the Twilight Zone every Friday, 4 episodes a week. Um, yeah, so if you're a big fan of Twilight Zone, definitely come check us out. The OG ones, not the new one. Actually, I had a buddy message me. He's like, "That's what's up, man." He's like, "You see the new ones? They're pretty cool." I'm like,
Yeah,
"Yeah,
we might.
okay."
If this goes well, maybe we'll do the '80s show, but I don't
Yeah,
think we'll ever get to the Jordan Peele ones.
yeah. That'd be. And if we did, that
Jordan
would.
Peele. If we did Jordan Peele, we'd probably do one show for the whole season. I think
It'd
maybe
be
I could
fun. It
handle
would be
that.
fun just to kind of shit on them, you
Yeah,
know.
maybe they got better, but I doubt it. They were pretty
Yeah,
poor.
I mean, well, maybe get real stoned and watch them, and you might like them.
Yeah, I started watching some of the '80s ones. The '80s ones aren't half bad.
I enjoyed those, but
Still, these are
I
classics.
enjoyed the Jordan Peele one a bit, and then it just really sank, man. Like there was a decent episode or two in there, but it just
But
like it was just not, it's just not what the
so,
OG.
Dylan, what's your first? When did you first start watching the Twilight Zone, the original?
Probably when I was younger. I can't remember who showed it to me. It might have been my mom or something. I always loved Tales from the Crypt. Um, I want to say almost maybe me. My one sister loved Alfred Hitchcock, so she used to watch the Alfred Hitchcock Presents show, and I'm pretty sure that maybe at some point we watched the Twilight Zone together. I think she even likes those too, but I'm not sure. They always were kind of accessible to watch, so I
Yeah,
kind of just maybe I picked up on them on reruns on cable
yeah.
television.
Well, I know. Yeah, I started watching them when I was like 9, 10 years old. Used to come home
Yeah,
after school in the summertime, and they were on in the afternoon, like right before Star Trek. So I'd watch Twilight Zone, and then you watch Star Trek, and that was like fucking. That was it.
yeah.
And
That would have
then
been that'd have been a fun time for sure.
yeah, and then you notice all the people that kind of cross over. But
Yeah,
this actually, what we're reviewing tonight is episodes 1 through 4. But actually, the first episode isn't the first episode. This show,
really.
the first episode was a show called what was it called? It was called The Time Element, and Rod Serling did it for the Desilu Playhouse, 1 year, 1958, before this aired, and that was a success enough to get the show greenlit.
Really?
And then he did the pilot, episode 1 that we looked at tonight.
I'll have to check
And
that original episode out.
and that original episode is, I guess, on YouTube. You can check it out.
Really?
And it's about a guy that goes back in time to Pearl Harbor and whether he should, muck with that and change history and stuff like that. Um,
What's it
and
called?
that was, it was called, it was a Twilight Zone. It was called The Time Element. And if you Google it, you could probably find it on YouTube. It is available to watch. And it was for Desilu Playhouse, which was part of Lucy and Desi's show for drama. Lucy and Desi was kind of responsible for Twilight Zone getting on the air and Star Trek getting on the air. And she got a lot of those shows on the air back then. So,
That's pretty sweet.
but the pilot, which is episode 1, which is called "Where'd Everybody Go?"
Or Where is Everybody?
Where is everybody? Is it Where is Everybody?
I think it's Where is Everybody?
And all these first 4 that we watched were written by Rod Serling.
Yeah.
So any one of
Legendary.
these 4 were going to be the pilot, but they picked the one that eventually became the pilot. So yeah,
It's definitely a good one, but
let's look at episode 1, I guess.
directed by Robert Stevens. I think
And
he also directed Journey into the Unknown, I want to say. And
Okay.
then Earl Hollyman is the main guy, which
Earl Holliman and James Gregory. Yeah, I mean,
Planet.
we'll probably look at the guest stars for a lot of these because the guest stars really, this is what really got the show going. Now I'm a lot older than Dylan is, but I remember these are all guys, these are all stars that kind of. And if you watch 50s and 60s television, and you watch things like Gunsmoke, Perry Mason, a lot of these actors kind of cycle through here. They were all kind of intermixed here. But you see guys that get the start, like in this episode here, we're seeing Earl Holliman, who was in Forbidden Planet, and then she was in Police Woman in the 70s, and then James Gregory, who was all over the place, and he was on Star Trek, and he eventually played the inspector. His biggest role is the inspector on Barney Miller, the older police detective. They always had top-notch, very well-known guest stars.
Yeah.
And if you watch, in fact, if you watch the Blu-rays or the DVDs, you'll get the little things that you don't see when you watch on TV, which is Rod Serling introducing the next episode. And he always will say, in the next episode, we got this, and we got this big actor and stuff like that. So he always got the big stars. He started off.
Yeah, I love Rod Serling's intro too, man. Which they were saying that Orson Welles, they had a hard time trying to find someone to do the narration, and they almost were looking at Orson Welles, but Rod Serling didn't want him.
Yeah, well, Rod Serling did. I mean, Rod Serling did not like being on television. He did not want to be the narrator. He did not.
Yeah, he's a fantastic writer, though.
He did not want to be the host, but he fit and
look, dude, you can't even do I feel like you almost can't do the Twilight Zone without him. You know what I mean?
He's an integral part of it, and then same thing in Night Gallery, where he introduces the stories there. He's just he's got that vibe. He's got that whole look and stuff. So, and then his narration is really, really good. So these first episodes, I feel the first 4 episodes contain elements, I think, of what made the show popular to come. Things like the horror and the science fiction and the twist endings. But these episodes don't necessarily have that. They do to a degree, but I think they were kind of working the audience in. They didn't want, people didn't see shit like this back in the 50s.
Yeah.
They had Alfred Hitchcock and stuff like that.
This was also, they aired in like October. These were aired in October, early October.
So I feel like they kind of eased them in with these first 4 episodes, and they gave them a mix. You noticed you got a mix of things like a mystery episode, a fantasy episode, an episode also with like old time Hollywood, and then a Western, which is big, back then. So he mixed it up.
I feel like the science one and the second one was kind of more with the, Mr. Death, and you get the Western, and then you get the old Hollywood, definitely.
So but this episode, Where Is Everyone? I think they pulled it off pretty well. I mean, they utilized the back lots pretty effectively, where they had, everybody was vacant. I think the cinematography and stuff was really good. Earl Holliman kind of sold it. And then it did have that kind of like twist ending at the end a little bit.
Yeah. Well, I guess it was a big thing. That book I was reading some of the book, and it was saying that like Rod Serling was trying to take some stuff out of what was happening in the real world. And there was a lot of tests going on with astronauts and stuff where they were kind of like doing these type of experiments. So I think that was a big part of this episode, which I guess if you would watch this back in 59, you'd have been like, oh shit, you know what I mean? It probably hit a little bit different, but I still think it's a really good kind of mystery where, he's in this town completely all alone. You don't know if maybe he's dead and just like this is his like own personal hell or something. You don't really know what's going on. And then you kind of find out that he's in this scientific experiment, and that what is he? He's a Marine or something,
Yeah, well, Air Force, Marine. He's going to be going training to go to the moon. So they got him in like a deprivation type thing.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing, of course, what they really sprinkle in a little bit more in this episode is not only that, but every time he goes someplace, he sees like a cigarette burning still or a meal half eaten. And that was kind of luring you, that was kind of detracting you from thinking like, people are here, which, kind of got you kind of still sold in the fact that maybe this was something different. And then when they put him inside that phone booth and he was tapping to get out, the first time around, I kind of figured it was aliens or something when I saw it along, originally, but I still kind of enjoyed the episode. I think it has enough of a mystery and a hook that gets you in there. So overall, I enjoyed this one. But Dylan, are you there? Dylan laughed. Yeah, I think the cinematography, the music, most of the music in this first season was kind of stock music, music from other TV shows that were lifted, and that's why you hear
My
like,
bad, dude. My DoorDash just got here.
oh, that's okay. That's why it's kind of like you hear things from like Our Limits and Twilight Zone, and a lot of these shows shared the musical catalog and the musical cues um, that were in the Twilight Zone. But overall, this first episode I think was solid. I
Yeah,
enjoyed it.
definitely. Yeah, I'm excited for that boxing episode. We will get to that at some point. Yeah, I think it's a solid one. It's definitely not one of my favorites, but it's a solid one. Good way to kind of get you in with a nice mystery. I think that would have been I think back then it would have been a really good, twist at the end. I think that they were trying. That was a big part of this being their first one because they kind of wanted to pull these people in and be like, "Damn, that was a good twist." You know what I mean? So I think that one definitely hits real good. We'll save our rating for this one at the end, correct? Or do you want to rate it now?
No. Yeah, we're gonna rate them all at the end,
right.
and then see which one we like the best. But yeah, they didn't want. I think they didn't want to shock people. They didn't do a monster. Didn't throw a big weird science fiction concept for the first episode. So he went kind of light, but I think it's still. And there's a lot of episodes like this, and even the next one that we're gonna review in the series. There is similar episodes, kind of sort of like this. So we'll get to those. So yeah. I guess episode number 2, then, One for the Angels. And this is written by Serling, directed by Robert Parrish, stars Ed Wynn as Lou Bookman, the fast-talking salesman, and Murray Hamilton, who was in everything, including Jaws as the
he looks just so. Yeah, I was gonna say he just has that familiar look.
That put upon governor.
He almost looks like Kyle Chandler a little. Like he could be Kyle Chandler's dad.
Yeah. So he's playing the Grim Reaper here. In this,
I love him as the Grim Reaper. I love Lou Bookman, or Edwin as Lou Bookman. I think this is one of my favorites, actually. I love this episode. I just think Lou is just so well likable. And even they turned, Mr. Death into, like a kind of charming Death.
Right.
And Lou is able to sell Death towards the end, man. And then he kind of plays him. The one thing I don't like is when he's like, yeah, that'll be, once he kind of persuades him to prolong his life, he's like, yeah, that'll be never, and slams his door. I'm like, did you see this guy just jump from room to room and corner to corner, and you're gonna just blurt that out that you like totally fucking played him?
One thing they said that I think Ed Wynn was great as the traveling salesman.
He's perfect,
but he's not really a fast talker. So I think where the episode falls down a little bit for me is when he has to convince Death. He has to sell Death until midnight to save the child. I didn't quite buy that as much. Death sitting there going, I want that. Give that to me. Give that to me.
I'll take them all.
And that guy wasn't that persuasive. Ed Wynn, but still, where he was cast so well is that he's likable.
Yes.
And you feel for the guy that he gives up his life for this little girl.
But you feel that he would 100% do it because he was like known for the kids loving him and just being just so well likable guy.
Yeah, and even as you said, Mr. Death, or the Grim Reaper, he's even like he's trying to kind of work with the guy, to give him that loophole that gets the little girl out of it a little bit. He's not like black and white bad guy. Murray Hamilton, as I said before, I mean that's the thing about Twilight Zone is that the acting in all these and most of the episodes is so top notch. These are established supporting actors and actresses that have worked their way through television up to this point. From the 50s all the way up to the 60s, you see these people in all the different shows, and they're just so well. You just buy them, as these guest stars, and that's the thing about an anthology. I think if you don't have actors in the supporting roles, because every week is a different story, every week is a different actor. If you don't have people that are convincing and people that carry the story, it's hard to do an anthology, and that's why there's not a whole lot of them, because it's tough to do it on a week-to-week basis. The nice thing about an anthology, of course, is that even Twilight Zone, and we'll see them as we go along. even Twilight Zone had stinkers, had episodes that weren't all that good. But because the nice thing about an anthology is you can have a stinker one week, and the next week you get another story that's fantastic. And that's why serialized television, like it happens now, you're stuck with one story for 13 episodes. And if that story sucks in the beginning or dies at the end, that's it. But back then, you either had a different story or you had a whole different set of circumstances that redeemed those bad episodes. And as figure drawing, how you doing? And let's look at the chat. I don't know if Dylan's getting his Grubhub, but I think figure drawing, Entropy in Comics, Two Gun Pedro, hey Two Gun, Perry's in the house. We have, as I said, figure drawing, and Alfred Hitchcock Hour, also very good. I mean, I preferred the half-hour shows in that. There's half hour, then there's hour ones, and they had some really good stories too. I mean, the anthology show was big in the 50s and lasted till about maybe the early 60s or so, and then you didn't see him as much anymore. I'll limit Twilight Zone, Alfred Hitchcock.
It's hard to stay awake because that food is damn good.
You shouldn't be ordering near showtime.
It was supposed to come freaking at 8:15, man.
My Chinese got here on time. I ate it.
And I told you the fucking weather was coming, so it's so fucking icy out here.
Oh,
man.
is it really?
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, today it was raining. It was 40. Yesterday it was snowing.
It was raining yesterday terribly, and I knew I was like, it's gonna fucking snow.
All right, what did you get from Grubhub there? What did you order?
It's like hibachi, like sushi and chicken hibachi and steak hibachi. Oh, my girl got the steak. But dude, as I said, man, I fucking love One for the Angels. It's absolutely great. I think it's perfectly cast. I love Edwin and Murray Hamilton. But so we got episode 3.
Yeah, episode 3, Mr. Getting on Doomsday.
On Doomsday,
which is a western, and
absolutely fantastic.
Dan Durio,
super young Martin Landau,
and Doug McClure, also from Humanoids of the Deep and Land of Time Forgot, The Virginian. Martin Landau, of course, really young. It was cast really well, and this was kind of your typical story of a drunk redemption. Somebody that was a bigwig or gunfighter in the past. And then you work in that peddling salesman there that has him drink the potion. And that guy was good.
Kind of reminds me of like what is the Stephen King one? God damn it! The Needful Things.
Okay, yeah.
Where you got like the kind of peddler that comes into town,
right?
And that it's a store salesman. But I always thought of him as like the kind of like a devil or a demon kind of, get. Kind of, even though they don't make it so open where it's like he's making a deal, but
you don't know where he stands. You think we don't know if he's good or he's bad, and then in the end he ends up being somebody that's good because he helped the old guy and helped the young guy. Basically gave them both the potion and released them from the torment they were having. I did think there was a really good episode. Of course, they used the sets standing from all the westerns back then.
Oh yeah.
Dan Duryea was a huge leading actor in movies, and he was good here as the drunk.
I think he's great, man. I'm so dry.
Yeah, everybody remembers that song. And then, as you said, Martin Landau and those guys were done pretty well. This was probably one of the first episodes like that where you have like a traveling salesman, but there's quite a few of them. Pitchman. It's quite a few of them in the Twilight Zone.
Yeah.
So this one, and I don't know what else to really say about this one. I think it's a good morality story because you get redemption for the old guy who's been.
The way it ends, though, I thought he would have died, or you know what I mean. But
he did die though because he had the metaphysical death of his gunfighting ability. Yeah, I mean,
I guess back, so. And then he kind of saves the kid in a way.
Right.
That is the moral quote. I didn't even think of that till you just said it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
He gets the he killed a little kid back
He
then.
killed it, and then of course
and
that
then,
guy's
and now he saved a guy who was going to follow down his path because they both got shot.
I never even thought of that. Yeah.
In the same hand. I mean, so both he was the death of the gunfighter for the old guy and the death of the potential gunfighter for the new guy. Really.
Yeah.
So that was your twist. That was your morality. Little story there.
I think Martin Landau's great in it too.
Martin Landau, who normally back then always played bad guys.
Yeah.
For the most
he had
part.
the face, man. I almost didn't even recognize him at first. I was just like, I know that fucking face, man.
Right.
And I looked it up. And I was like, that's fucking Martin Landau. Holy shit.
Yeah, until he got on like Mission Impossible, he was a bad guy for most of his career. So, but he probably could do that role in his sleep. He probably did it so many times.
Yeah.
Let's see, but that story was of the first four. That would definitely one of the better ones. Now the next one, I
actually really like that one. Honestly, right. I know you were gonna maybe say that's the weakest one. You think?
No. I think the weakest one is probably the next one because it's pretty obvious. Like the 60mm Shrine, although I enjoy it.
It's kind of like the less deserving to be in a Twilight Zone show. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't have like sci-fi horror.
But what it's based on is in a movie that came out in the 40s or the 30s called Sunset Boulevard. Sunset Boulevard was a movie. I think it was Marlene Dietrich or somewhere where she's a failing aging movie star that's living in like this fantasy world.
Right.
So it was kind of a play on that, and basically, you get this old time actress that wants to kind of relive her glory days. She locks herself in the room there. She's playing old films, and then she sees one of her co-stars old, and the whole twist at the end is basically she got taken a la Tron into her world on film, which I kind of you see coming, but it's hard. To be fair, it's hard to really be harsh on these shows because this show established, we say, oh, it's an old trope. Well, this show established that trope and all the other shows copied it. So it's hard to be down on a show for being something you would suspect. But I think even back then I would have suspected it. So good cinematography. Ida Lupino, who was the Barbara Tranton, I believe the character's name was Martin Balsam. Ida Lupino was a huge actress in the 30s and 40s, went on to be a very big and one of the first female directors of television and movies in the 50s and 60s. So she was huge in Hollywood. And I even think she went on to be a president of Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences. But she was big and she was great as a movie actress. But still, even though the acting is good and the story was okay, it's probably, to me, the weakest of the four episodes I think we're looking at tonight. What did you think, Dylan? I think Dylan thinks the sushi is good. Is what Dylan thinks is good. So while Dylan is spreading the wasabi, let's talk more about this episode. Martin Balsam played her agent. You've seen him on tons of stuff, going back to, a ton of movies in the 70s, All in the Family and stuff like that. And he was good as the agent. And even though Lupino was strong, I just think the story was kind of weak. It kind of seemed drawn out to me. So not one of my favorites here. And I don't know how Dylan feels. Of course, I think Dylan feels really good about the hibachi, but I don't know how he feels about this episode. So let me take a quick drink here. Dylan.
Yeah.
How's the hibachi hanging?
It still needs to get smashed.
Uh-oh.
You think I can smash it in 2 seconds? I just feel bad. But yeah, man, I think this episode's my weakest one for sure. I really enjoy Martin Balsam, who plays Danny Weiss, because he was actually in Psycho.
That's right. I was gonna say he was the
All President's Men, and then he was the judge in Cape Fear. I think he was definitely probably one of my favorites in it. The woman, she's good, but it's like we've seen that kind of story, the aging.
Well, yeah, but the thing is that while you were having a sushi there, I was saying we we. I can't be hard on Twilight Zone for tropes because
Oh
they
no,
established the tropes. So
exactly.
this has been done to death since then, but it's
Yeah,
for then it was really the beginning of it.
that's
And I
what we're
said
talking now, fucking
right,
60 years later. But
and
dude,
Ida
I mean,
Lupino, as I
this.
mentioned before, she was the woman, the actress. She was a huge actor in Hollywood in the 40s and 50s, and went on to become
Okay.
one of the first female directors
I still enjoy the
in the
episode.
50s and
It's
60s.
out of the four, I would say it's the weakest.
Yeah, that's why I said myself the same thing. Out of the four that we
Honestly,
watched,
we're gonna
it's
have
probably
to
the
go
weakest
through
one.
them. It's been a while because I used to I've watched all the episodes, binged them all quite a few times. So it's been a while since I've done that. A lot of times I just go watch a couple here and there. So it's gonna
Well, it's
be
going to be interesting
really
to
fun
see.
to watch them all,
Well,
again.
and I think probably one of the first times where I've sat down to watch them in progression, in
That's
order.
what I'm saying. It's been a
And
while since
I
I've
think
done
you're going
that.
to see stuff in it that you didn't see because you were skipping around and watching
Yep.
either
And
ones
I
that you
really
like.
enjoy being able to, like you said, where you can, Rod
Right,
Serling does the next week stuff. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
it's the first time I've been able to watch them on the Blu-ray. I never owned them on. I've always kind of just watched them on Hulu or Paramount
And the
Plus
Blu-ray
has
does
them
have a
now.
lot of good extras. In fact, the
They're
Blu-ray
free
does.
on Pluto too, I believe. So if
Yeah,
anyone does want to
they have a
watch,
channel on Pluto as well.
yeah, so they're
Um,
free on Pluto.
but the Blu-ray is nice too because it has like an unaired version of the pilot. It's got a lot of tons of extras to it, so
Yeah,
it's really really good.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, I mean of the
Dude,
we're
I'm
going ahead.
surprised they don't have the Elemental one.
Yeah, I don't think because it aired as a
It
different on a
aired on a
different
different
show,
channel, I'm
they probably don't
guessing.
have the
Yeah,
rights to it.
yeah,
But I definitely want to go and watch it on YouTube and check it
definitely.
out.
Me too. But
But yeah,
yeah,
these
I
first
really enjoy all four episodes. There's not really an episode of Twilight Zone I don't think I would ever say I don't enjoy. They're all so 24 minutes is the perfect time for, and they always did it where you didn't feel like, oh, that could be a lot longer. I mean, some of them could have turned out to be movies, but I
right.
felt like a lot of the
Well,
pacing
and that's why you'll see when
perfect.
we'll get to the fourth season. That I think the
Yeah,
fourth
when they're
season is
like
probably the
40.
weakest because they're an hour long,
Yeah,
and there was a couple real good ones in the fourth season, but overall not
yeah.
the highest, not the
I,
greatest season,
I love the
and that's why
pacing of these.
they went back to being a half an hour
Yeah.
in the fifth season, and then back in the fifth
And
season
I
they had
think
some
that's
really
why
strong
Night
episodes.
Gallery was a little all over the place,
But
stage
of course,
time. But
back then a half an hour show was 27 minutes. It wasn't
right,
21 minutes, so it made a big
right,
difference in what you could do for story. So I
yeah,
guess let's look at the do the ratings and say what we thought. I would say
yeah. Out of five,
how are we rating these, Dylan?
we'll
We
do
rating them
out
out
of
of
five.
five.
Out of five, as always. Out of five,
Let's do five. Let's do five
out of
Gremlins.
five interdimensional, however he says it.
Let's say Gremlins since Gremlins big. So five Gremlins, five interdimensional beings or something,
Yeah,
or five rod selling cigarettes, whatever you want to say.
five interdimensional beings is funny, but just just five slips, whatever.
Yeah, I would definitely say, in my opinion, the first episode, Where Is Everyone, would get probably a solid 3.75 for me. I think it's a good story, a solid opener.
Yeah,
It had an interesting mystery, good actors in it. Just and it had the beginnings of what was to become a twist ending. And it's pretty solid. So 3.75 on that one for me. About you, Dylan? What do you think?
I'd say I'm right up there with you. I'd probably say 3.69, my brothers.
There was no
DHS
sex in the 50s, my friend. Let's keep sex.
I do like the main character in it. It's good for him kind of doing, him being the main guy, kind of holding it together. It's a good little twist at the end. It's just, not one of my favorites, not the best, but it's a good one. It's a great one to kick it off, great with a mystery and kind of to keep you going like, oh, what are they going to do next week now? You know what I mean? So I definitely do. It's a good one. I enjoy it. But
yeah, one for the Angels. I'm gonna say this is always this would be in a top. Well, if
top tier.
top tier Twilight Zone, aired very early. Had everything
I
that
think
made
it's a great second episode.
everything that made the series strong.
I really believe it. Yeah.
You really felt the character. You know, had a great twist at the end with him going instead of the girl.
Yep.
Had great characters in Mr. Death, the Grim Reaper, and Lou Bookman.
Heck yeah.
You really bought that guy. You could believe he would do it for the kids.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, 4.5 for me for this episode. It would be in my. If I'm going to do a top 10, it probably would be in it.
Yeah. So I'm guessing we could say that the one for the Angels is our favorite of the 4.
Well, let's say that at the end.
Not yet. Okay. Well, I figured your ratings are going to kind of do that, but we'll see. Maybe your rating might not necessarily.
Yes. All right. Let's not spoil. Yes, it is the favorite. It is the favorite of all the episodes you watched.
That's what, because I was gonna say once you rate something low, the next 2 lower, it's gonna be kind of obvious. But you know, just because you rate something lower doesn't mean you might not like that better.
So would it be?
What did you give the episode?
4.5. 4.5.
4.5. I'd agree. I give it 4.5. The only little fall it takes is, you know, the pitch isn't, you know, one for the ages, but I guess it's one for the ages for him, you know.
For him, right.
But it's a top tier Twilight Zone episode. It's one that's got a lot of heart. I absolutely love Murray Hamilton as Mr. Death. I love Ed Wynn as Lou Bookman. I just think it's absolutely fantastic. It's one of my all-time favorites out of the Twilight Zone, yeah, for sure. And we got episode 3, Mr. Denton on Doomsday, a great Western. I think the guy who plays Al Denton does a great job, you know, kind of that, you know, very sad sack, you know, lonely guy. And then you get Martin Landau is kind of like the a-hole, you know, he plays that perfect, as you said, you know, he's a great villain. I really enjoy this one a lot. I think it's a lot of fun. You also get Jean Cooper, who plays Liz, and it looks like she played in some type of reality, not reality show, but one of those.
You talking about the one that was the waitress girl?
She played. I think it's so.
She's been in a ton of different things.
Yeah. This one I would probably give the Mr. Denton on Doomsday. I would give a 4. I'd probably give maybe like a 4.2.
Yeah, I agree. I'm gonna give it a 4 as well. I would say it's probably the second strongest of the batch that we watched.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. So we both agree on that. 2 4s.
Yeah,
2 4s for that.
And I would say the next one, which is the 60mm Shrine, is probably the weakest for me of the ones we watched. Good acting. The ending I thought was a little weak. I would like to see something else. Not maybe something else, but just it did a little bit better than how they did it. But it was an okay episode. It was watchable, as they all say.
Yeah. It's not terrible. It's not like a bad story. Right. It's, you know, it's a little different.
I'm going to give it a 2.75. So I think it's the weakest of the ones you watched.
Yeah. I was debating on like what you said, or maybe a 3. I think I'll just agree with you and do a 2.75. Because it's still good. It's still very good acting in it. I think that's one of the best things going for it, is that you have really good actors in it. But yeah, it's just, you know, it's a little different for a Twilight Zone episode, you know, but that's the one great thing about the Twilight Zone, is that it has that kind of overall, you know, genre. It's like a very, you know, it has a kind of mix of all the genres, you know, but they're all fantastic, man. That's why I'm just so excited to really dive into all these.
Yeah, and as I said before,
perfect time.
With an anthology show, you could have a stinker one week, and the next week the best episode ever. Yeah. So that's what was good about shows that did stuff like this, is you weren't locked into a whole season of something. You know,
I grew up on it. I remember now. I think me and my mom used to watch this a lot, and Tales from the Crypt was a big one that we always liked. Tales from the Crypt I was watching week to week, so I've always had such a soft spot for anthology. So I'm really excited to be diving into these week to week. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, and, definitely.
I hope they keep them on Pluto, so you guys can check them out week.
Yeah, if you guys want to watch along with us, as I said, they're on Pluto.
And Pluto's a free app. No, doesn't cost no money, no nothing.
Yeah, they even have some on demand. If you guys have Paramount Plus, they're on Paramount Plus, all 5 seasons.
Looks like Dugan says first 3.69, and the third 3.5 episode. And the third episode was my favorite out of the 4. So, yeah, it was tough, man, because I really do like the Western one, too. But it's just, I love that one.
Yeah, the Western one, you know, was definitely strong.
So
I still just like
3.5 for the third,
one for the
3.5
Angels. I
for
think
the second,
was classic,
and a 2.0 for the fourth.
Mm-hmm.
So Two Gun, he
It
knows
looks like the chat is kind of going along with how we thought we saw the episodes too.
Yeah.
As far as where they rated.
Hell yeah.
So well, I enjoyed this first batch and looking at the episodes, and
I did too.
Hopefully next week we'll get some strong. I know there's some really good ones in the first season that are coming up, so we'll be able to get to them and talk to them, and probably spend a little bit more time on the ones that really intrigue us that we that we got really
into. These ones are a little quickies. They weren't big on like the in-depth story, where some of the other ones they get a little more into it. Not crazy in depth, but these ones were a little lighter, I feel like, on the storytelling, and the morality tale. The biggest morality one, I feel like, was one for the Angels and Mr. Denton on Doomsday. At least those were my favorite, obviously. But next week we got Walking Distance, Escape Clause, The Lonely, and Time Enough at Last. So
and Time Enough at Last is,
I know it.
It'd be a tough one to beat. That's an all-time classic.
Yeah, it's got like a 9 out of 10 right here. And the week after the first one, I see, I'm not going to name the rest, but Per Hands to a Dream. That I remember that one being a wild one.
Yeah, so
the guy goes
definitely some good ones in the next batch.
Oh man, we got a lot of good ones coming. What do you got coming this Monday though, brother? That you want to talk
well, this Monday. Well, before we even get to this Monday.
Should we know what's coming Saturday?
What's coming Saturday?
We got the frickin' Burial Ground, baby.
Burial Ground, Italian horror, man. Good stuff. If you like your Italian splatter, then you gotta watch Burial Ground.
I can't wait, man. I'll probably be watching it tonight or something. I'm probably
Friday
the 13th tonight. So
I'm gonna watch Friday the 13th tonight. I'll probably catch that tomorrow.
For me too, because I want to watch some more Friday the 13th.
But yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's gonna be an interesting one. And then coming up on Monday, we have Buckaroo Banzai Across the Eighth Dimension, which is to be a cool one. Really, my favorite movie. Yeah, Dylan's first time watching it. You never saw it at all, Dylan?
I've seen like bits, very small bits and pieces, but I've never seen the entire movie.
Yeah, it's always been one of my favorites, even going back to the 80s. And one word of advice: anybody watching it, just concentrate on the dialogue, man. Listen to the dialogue, because
it was going out of print in Scream Factory, and I didn't even get it because I was like, I didn't think about it. I should have.
Yeah, so listen to it, because the dialogue is where a lot of the magic happens in that movie. So
I know you own 2 copies of that Scream Factory because it's like your favorite.
Yeah, in case one goes bad, you never know. I'm hoping they'll put that out on 4K, but who knows? They probably won't.
And also, if you're a big Twilight Zone fan, I highly recommend you picking up this Twilight Zone Companion.
Yeah, really good book.
Sent that my way, dude. This is an absolute in-depth book. I've been really enjoying, because I've been kind of trying to really go into these.
Yeah, and the author of that book has a really good channel where he talks about the Twilight Zone too, so that's worth looking for.
Yeah. I hope you enjoy this revisit then on these 2 Gun.
Yeah, I hope you guys are enjoying it, and we'll get more coming your way. And don't forget to watch Burial Ground tomorrow, and Buckaroo Banzai on Monday, and that's back next Friday.
Tomorrow we got Burial Ground at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Monday on Scarpad's Domain we got Buckaroo Banzai at 7:45 p.m. Eastern. Correct?
Yeah, 7:45 Eastern.
And we'll be back here next Friday to do it again for episodes 5, 6, 7, and 8 of the Twilight Zone, man. And I think it's going to be a blast. And hope you guys are able to check them out on Pluto.
And until then, we'll let Dylan go back to his tainted sushi, so he doesn't get too much food poisoning tonight. And,
hey, we kept it at what we were based. I was saying I had a feeling it was going to be about the 45-minute hour. Some might go a little longer to an hour, but we're going to keep the show at about 45 minutes to an hour.
Yeah, the show will be just like we did. I do on Monday nights because Robbie's still coming up. No, Robbie doesn't do Friday nights, does he? Or does he do Friday
nights? He probably does something. I don't know.
I think he does something on Friday nights. Well, we're going to keep it an hour anyway.
Something. It might be on someone else's channel.
Yeah, next week might be a little long. I'm sure we'll get into some conversations on some of these.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, even so, I feel like, I mean, I only walked away for like a minute. I didn't walk away that long. I walked away maybe 3 minutes out of the whole thing, I'd say. I don't think I was gone that long.
You didn't catch me. I was singing and dancing. I dropped my drawers twice.
Yeah, they would have messaged me on Instagram. But man,
I do something.
I really look forward to doing this show week to week with you, buddy. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun, and I'm excited to, like you said, kind of go through these one by one, entirely season by season, because it's been a while. I remember a few years back when they first put them on Hulu, I binged them all, and then they took them off, I think, for a little bit, and then now they're back on like Paramount Plus. Yeah, man, there's a lot going. And actually, shoot, man, while I'm on here, before I hop off, I need a fucking. Man, Tugun was saying he didn't have something while we're live because I don't know how to do it while I'm off.
What's that?
Hold on. Yeah, and I'm hoping, since everyone's so used to seeing us just on Saturday, that the week by week we'll pick up a few more viewers and they'll be used to us, seeing us, man. Get us in here, and hopefully they'll check out some other episodes with us week to week. Especially since they're on Pluto. That kind of worried me at first when I was like, damn, no one's going to be able to watch them. But I love that they're on Pluto. I think that's perfect. That's free.
They're around. They're definitely around.
Yeah, easily. Yeah, love Rod Serling. Awesome, man. There you go, Two Gun, my brother. I hope you guys have a great weekend. We will see you tomorrow, 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Burial Ground, Italian horror, zombies, finest. As Scarpa would say, maybe breastfeeding at adult age is finest.
It shows the horrors of breastfeeding at a young age.
Man, I can't wait. It's going to be so much fun. You will not want to miss it tomorrow. We are going to have a hell of a conversation, that's for sure. And don't miss us Monday night either.
And Robbie's probably going to like it better than Terrifying 1. So.
Yeah, let's hope. Let's hope. Otherwise, he's going to tell us about the artistry that should have been.
The Italians were way ahead, even in this.
Yeah. Hey, and shout out Robbie for the awesome intro and outro for the Twilight Zone. Thank you as always. Shout out my man Mike for the thumbnail. You guys are always the best, man. We love you. Have a great rest of your night.
Later, guys.
Friday the 13th, y'all.